Welcome back. In this video we're going to have a look at arrays and pointers, and we're going to look at it in terms of memory. Memory for arrays can get a little bit more confusing because we also need to think about where in memory it's stored, but that'll be for another video. So this is just going to be a simple look at memory. And we'll also have a look at box and pointer in the next video as well. Alright, so we have got 32-bit addresses to keep it nice and simple, and I'm going to declare an array. And I'm going to use short. Okay, so short is 2 bytes. And I'll call my array R, just a generic array, and I'm going to make it size 3. And I'm going to initialize this array so that it has the values 1, 2, and 3. Now with arrays in memory, we're guaranteed that we get the memory contiguous, meaning that they'll be one after each other. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and that is our array. Okay, so we've got that and that. So we put our 1 and our 2 in there and our 3 in there. Now, the first thing that you can notice is that looking at each individual one, they just look like a normal short, okay? But when we look at the whole block, we can see that we've got 3 shorts in a row. So let's have a look at this from the point of view of a pointer. A pointer doesn't care that they're in a row, so for that, we can store the address of one of these values in a pointer. So I'm going to call this pointer 1. I'm just going to store the address of the element at index 0. Okay, so let's go down here. Okay. So the address of element 0 is going to be 0016E5D6D. Okay, that address there. Then I can do the same with another one. So for example, short star pointer 2 is going to store the address of R1. So we just create another pointer here. And remember that where in memory is arbitrary. That's up to the memory management unit. So we've now got 2 pointers, each pointing at 2 different things, one pointing at the 1 and the other one pointing at the 2. So we can do dereferencing like we did before, so I can do something like printf %hd, a bit easier if anyone's doing these examples, and I can dereference that. Alright, so remember that the pointer 1 is a short star. We dereference it so it becomes a short. HD will print a short in decimal. The pointer 1 is here, remembering that the star brings us back 1 and gets the value. So we get a 1 and it prints a 1 out. Now, it can get a little bit confusing when trying to see if the right-hand side and the left-hand side are type equivalent. So let's just have a quick look at that. So we've got pointer 1 becomes the address of 2. So if we have a look here, we've got R at index 2, that's of type short. Remembering that our ampersand adds a star to the type, so whenever we grab an address, we add a star to the type. So we've got a short star there. If we have a look at the left-hand side, pointer 1 is of type short star. So that's perfectly fine. Now, the other thing that we need to look at is what happens if we use this here. So the type of R is short star. Okay, it actually is equivalent. So AAR is equivalent to AR 0 and its address. Okay, so these are both equivalent. So if I write something like short star pointer 3 becomes R. Well, firstly, let's just remove this for now because I don't want to confuse. I didn't update the memory diagram for that one, and I'll remove this as well. So if I create pointer 3 up here, then what gets stored is going to be the very first address. So we get 0016E56D. Okay, now one thing to note. Okay, so let me just move this up a little bit. Alright, so that's the state of memory from this program. Right, so one thing to note is ARR and ARR0 address are equivalent. There is another one which will give you the same value, but they're not actually type equivalent, which is the address of ARR, which is when you come to pointer arithmetic, you'll see the difference between these two. Okay, so that's an introduction to arrays and pointers in memory. We'll have a look at it in box and pointer diagrams next. We can use a very similar example, and with box and pointer diagrams it makes it a lot easier to see what's happening. So if this was a little bit confusing, the box and pointer diagrams will make it a lot easier. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you.